Anne Raffin is Associate Professor in Department of Sociology, and her research interests include modern colonialism and its legacies, state-society relations, and globalization. And she's authored the book Youth Mobilization in Vichy Indochina and its legacies 1940 to 1970. Thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon. My research is going to be very narrow in comparison of what the other presenters are doing. I'm looking at French retirees in different parts of Asia. As the presenter said, I'm an historical sociologist, and usually I work in the archives, looking at how facts from the past are still influencing some of our behaviors today. So it's the first time it's a study only based on interviews and spending time with people, trying to understand their choice. So yes, it's a project about post-colonial legacies, but also I'm saying that we are also moving beyond post-colonialism in the sense that we'll see these people are being displaced by a rising middle class, mostly Chinese, because I'm looking at Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, and are thinking to move to other places, to retire when there are no tourists. And as well, when I look at a place in India, people are also complaining that they are being that they might leave because of the rise of the Indian middle class who comes on weekends partying in the town I'm looking at. So I've been talking to French retired people that I met when I was doing archival research in Vietnam, and I realized that the reason for them moving there are nothing to do with what the literature in gerontology was telling us. That people, were or did not explain very well the reason of moving there. Disconnecting with the economic activities progressively, withdrawing from the professional life they had, or finding alternative, wanting to travel, doing a sort of tourism by being there, or just maintaining what they were doing. If you were an extroverted person, you would still have a lot of social networks and so on. It worked, but not fully. And what was kept coming back was the issue that the colonial past had a large impact on the choice of moving there. So I'm looking at 4 places: Nha Trang in Vietnam, Sihanoukville in Cambodia, Viet Cong in Laos, and Pondicherry in India. And Pondicherry is a small town, like 120 kilometers south of Chennai. Why these places? Because there are quite a large number of French retirees. So far, I interviewed 61 persons when I say Nha Trang and Sihanouk that I've analyzed. I did more interviews in Laos and in Pondicherry, but I haven't yet transcribed and analyzed them. The characteristic of these people, they're 50 years old and above, they receive a pension, and if working only a few hours, very, very few work, I would say like 2%, because it's not part of the French culture. When you exit the workplace, that's it. And the notion also, because of high unemployment for the last 35 years, the notion that work is rare, we have to share it. Okay, why not to do a big survey? There are no statistics about these people, and also it was very difficult to get access to them because some were worried I worked for the French government, and we'll see how some are using and taking advantage of a welfare system. Okay, did I remove? I'm missing a slide. Okay, I guess what I want to say, which is very important, is the welfare state policy really does not prevent people from retiring or living abroad. Unlike study of Japanese retirees, I'm thinking of my colleague Nika Toyota, I never heard one person saying I'm moving abroad in order to look for lower cost of healthcare or looking for someone who could live with me and take care of my health. Because even if you are, some are seasonal retirees, I would say like 30% overall, the other one are full-time resident of these Asian countries. So if you live less than 6 months and 1 day, then you're still entitled of all health benefits. So some go back in France in the summer. Others, you know, the welfare system, you can benefit the full French healthcare package at a very decent price. You pay 4.2% of the amount of your pension, and you can go any hospital for problem, you will be reimbursed. So I've seen people who had cancer, very expensive medical bill, but that was not a problem for them, which is not the case. You know, I met Canadians who are very envious of the French because they say if we stay more than 3 months abroad, we lose our health benefits, or the Australians who want their retirees to spend money in Australia. If they spend more than 6 weeks abroad, then they're losing some of their benefits. Okay, also, I mean, I'm presenting Vietnam, but I could say it's the same for the others country I'm looking at. It's very easy for people to get a visa. It's annoying, but you have to cross the borders often, and there is no, like in Malaysia, like second home plans, but you can, it's very easy to get extension. I mean, I met people who have been there for 15 years, they just cross the border with friends, spend a few days in Cambodia and come back. And you have married to a local, then you are having a 5 years visa, and I could say, also, when I looked at people in Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, and also India, visa was not a problem to get it. So this has, well, has an impact. I don't know if I should go into detail because of time. How many more minutes do you have?
About 3.
3, so I won't go. What I see in all the cases I've been looking at is the role, there is a Eurasian population that I see also in Cambodia and also in Laos. And due to the Indochinese War, you know, a lot of these people were repatriated for the Vietnam War in 1954 or 1974. I've seen people in Cambodia and Laos is more of a changing of a regime, communists moving in France, and quite a few of them wants to go back to their roots. Okay, so these are an important and the colonial relations come here. Often they would have a mother or grandmother who was locals and married a French military person. Okay, and also France had historically very bad institutions like French Eurasian child protection programs were very racist in their thinking. So they just took away the children of mixed marriage, of mixed ancestors, a couple, and sent them back to France. So often these kids ended up orphaned in France, were adopted, and they tried to go back to Vietnam in this case to find their biological parents. Also, I've interviewed quite a few people who are in their 80s, 90s, who have experienced the colonial war and just fell in love with the region, like the smell, the color, escapism. It was a place of adventure. Also, some of them were women and wanted just to go back. So there is a lot of fantasy. Now, fantasy from the war experience, and some decided to retire there and try to find again, put some adventure in their life, but they find a little bit dull back in France. And a lot of these Eurasian, and I could see that in the 3 countries, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia, ended up to be middlemen. Okay, it's a neighbor, it's a friend in France, will be the one bringing you to this place. You might come for 2 or 3 months of vacation, you decide you like it, you can have better quality of life with less money, and you decide to be there. Also in India, what you have to understand, when the French left, they gave French citizenship to the Indians who wanted to. So you have some French from Indian origin in France will be the middleman. And what will attract, which is the difference with the other places, is that a French woman with a local Bengali man during the colonial time started the ashram, which is still very popular today. So people have spoke to in India were attracted by the spiritual experience. But all, I'd read about the colonial days, the construction of this ashram, and so on. So it's a place of memory fantasies, a teacher will talk to them about the colonial past, attraction. What I find is like people want to mingle. A lot of people try to learn the local language. When I learned Khmer, Vietnamese, but people say just too difficult, give up. So I end up doing this enclave type retirement patterns, recreate north-south inequalities, complaints they're escaping poverty in France, but are recreating an equal relationship with the local, especially when it comes to remarrying with locals. And how probably, as I said, they will be pushed away by mass tourism, Indian and Chinese mass tourism. So it's where I'm at. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions, please. One and then 2.
Okay. Many people actually go to France because of fantasies.
Yeah.
And real French leave France to pursue fantasies in Vietnam or other parts of the world.
Yeah.
What's wrong with France?
What's wrong with France?
So my question, it was a joke. My question is that, so you showed some likely causes and then you denied them all,
Okay.
right? So is it only for fantasy or some other causes you can think
No,
of?
I mean, I'm also looking at, I'm looking at 2 literature. It's the colonial one, the influence in the choices, as a way of refuting the one more on gerontology. And the second one, I was looking at sociology of the individual, like key moments in redefining your life, because it's a big jump. People leave and restart completely new life. So I'm trying also to understand the motivation behind that.
They couldn't do that in France, and they are satisfied when they're doing it in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, they feel of a notion of freedom, escape from responsibilities, escape from bureaucratic pressures. They say here in Vietnam, the police never arrest me, I can drive without helmet. I'm reliving a youth, a lot of them also sociologically, economically speaking, are coming from low income. They say I went to work at the age of 14, like most French people. I'm reliving my youth. I can do that with a small income, and also what I'm seeing is like I'm not put in a box because of age. They are thinking that there is no age-attached activities, you know. I can go at night in a disco if I want, nobody will raise an eyebrow and so on. There is not the normative environment at home from children and so on. It's this. A lot of them are talking about this freedom. it's a place of freedom, it's a place, a lot of said, of living a youth I didn't have. And also for women, what was interesting, I met some single women, is also tragic moment in their life. I lost a son. I just couldn't stand anymore being in France. Everything was, for instance, one with the death of my son. So it's often failure bringing me in a new space where I can start again. Far away from the pressure of a normative family.
I don't know if your data can help address this, but
yeah.
I wonder if you have anything that addresses sex tourism and the availability, separately, the cheapness of domestic assistance. So in a place like Vietnam, you can get a cleaner much more cheaply, or a housekeeper much more cheaply than you can in France. Similarly, if you happen to be white in Southeast Asia, that comes with privilege and the assumption of wealth that may give you dating/mating advantages. So I wonder if you can address those questions that come with the privilege of looking white outside of Europe.
No, it's there, and I guess I did, but South-North inequality is very much there. Prostitution, sexual tourism really came with the case of Laos. I was very surprised. A large portion, I would say 40, and I interviewed about 30 people. I would say about 40% made the Laotian wife or partner through the sex industry in Thailand. Also, what is very interesting is so common that among these groups there is no taboo. You know, they will tell me openly, I came on vacation, sex tourism in Thailand, and it's not how they end up. So, and there is no, they are very much in a notion, it's an exchange. I'm taking care of the whole family. Economically, they give me their youth. They're very straightforward about it. So that was very much in Laos. In Vietnam, they will not say that. It's not the case, but they will marry women that the Vietnamese don't want, but are single mothers or divorcees. The guy is just disappeared and they're single with kids. So again, they are also, nobody is fooling one another. They're saying it's an arrangement, and when I try to talk to the wife, girlfriend, I would have to spend more time, but they say, oh, they're nice, they take care of the kids.
I assume it's very gendered. You don't see...
I've seen one French woman who dated quite only. Younger, also Vietnamese man. We are in long-term relationship, and long-term, 3 or 4 years. She had a couple of them. She said it was the conception of a relationship. It was too much living parallel life, and the guy drinking, and not enough doing things together. And I find also in the conception of spending some time with them, some live very parallel life. They even don't eat together, they do very little together. I guess it's different conception of what is a marriage, a relationship where you get your fulfillment. Some are old and are sick, but then it's part of it's the wife or the girlfriend who becomes the helper. But it's also very common for Vietnam, when you're sick with the family, not so much nurses and so on. So they are becoming the caregivers. I know one in 97 is alone, he's sick, he's in a guest house. He's paying people of a guest house to take care of them. So of course money, everything is cheaper. You can have a better life, quality of life. And I think in long term, this generation will die and you won't have any more impact of colonialism, but there is network in France. They talk to friends. Say cheaper life, more fun life, come here. But it's not all fun.
Thank you very much.
Fun.
Thank you very much.